All right, welcome to Super Bowl Radio Row here in New Orleans. This is Mr. Nola himself. This is Nick Underhill. You know him already, NewOrleans.Football. Really admire the work he does, and thrilled to have you on the program today.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. Before we talk football, I wanted to ask you about your journey because I really admire what NewOrleans.Football is and has become. I wanted you to share with our viewers where you were, how you got here, and what you guys are doing now.
Yeah, I got a job covering the Saints in 2014. That's when I first moved down here, and I had done that up through 2019 for the local newspaper here, The Advocate. And I left to go cover the Patriots for The Athletic. I covered them before doing Saints. And I was up there for about a year, and just kind of seeing how it works with marketing your own work and getting people to pay for it. I kind of realized that I'm my own content marketer, and I need to be able to sell these articles to kind of keep my job. But if I don't sell them, I'm going to lose my job. So it was like I'm getting all the downside, but only so much upside. And just doing that, it didn't make sense to me. And it started to drive me nuts, honestly. And
like you're lying in bed trying to go to sleep thinking about this.
Yeah, well, like more so the aspect of like this doesn't make sense because like my life's on the line, but I don't have the reward. I got all the risk and just only so much reward. And look, it was a good salary, like and a great place to work, great editors, great infrastructure, a great platform. But just kind of seeing how the nuts and bolts of it works, it was just like it didn't make sense to me after a while to keep doing it. So I broke off and I came back down to New Orleans where I had a built-in market and all these people that I assumed wanted my work and I could sell it to them myself. So I negotiated my exit from the Athletic, came down here and did that, starting in 2020, and we've been going ever since, and it's growing well. We've got a handful of employees, and we've kind of built our own little news outlet down here, and it's been a rewarding journey, honestly.
Did you know the Saints fan base was that rabid and passionate when you committed to that, or did it even surprise you how much support you saw out of the gate?
I would say.
Yeah,
I would say yes to both. Like I knew how passionate and rabid they are. Like and I felt that as soon as I left. Like just the way the fans interact with their team in the two markets is completely different. And Patriots fans, there's a million of them, and they're incredibly passionate. But with Saints fans, it's kind of more like family business, and just every aspect of it is integrated into their life. I mean, the city logo is a team logo, and it's on the trash cans, and it's on the helmets, and it's everywhere you look. And just the way the team influences the mood and the economy on Monday, and business is thriving at the local coffee shop on Monday if they win, and if they don't, it isn't. Like that's just kind of how it
sounds
is.
Sounds like a college town.
Yeah, it kind of is. It really is. That's a very good way to put it. Yeah, it's much more corporate in New England. Here, it's kind of family business, but the level that we were able to hit was crazy to me. Like I had a 6-figure job. I quit. I go to zero. I don't have a family with money, so it was like life's on the line, and I had a plan for like, this is how I'm going to survive for a year. And within 3 days, like we're on pace to make like $70,000. And then, the end of the week, like the salary's replaced and we're already making more, like on pace for it. So yeah, I mean, the level of support was absolutely unbelievable.
That's fantastic. Yeah, no, as we continue to grow and build Talking Ball, like what Nick has done, I think, you have the podcast going, you write, you break news, you do it all. It's one-stop shopping. It's NewOrleans.Football. Any football fan, even if you're not a Saints fan, you should sign up. I'm a subscriber. You're going to learn so much about the business, and not just about the Saints and about the NFL, but like I said, not to beat the dead horse, but like the way that you have created this yourself, I think any reporter who is not doing something like this right now is not paying attention. So credit to you for having the courage, the confidence, and the conviction to do that. Now you got it. About the team that you cover. Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
What makes him the right hire for them right now? Seemed really touch and go. I was listening to your podcast maybe like 5 or 6 days ago about the different names that were in and out. McCarthy, Mike Kafka. Do you think Moore is the right hire for them at this time?
I don't know. I don't know if there is a right hire. Honestly, like I've learned my lesson on this, and man, you guys know how it is. Like you can think it's the right coach, and then it isn't. They all see there's pros and cons for all of them every single time. I thought the idea to go to Dennis Allen made sense last time with the continuity, and Sean Payton had quit, and it was just kind of trying to continue it. I like a lot of Kellen Moore. I think if you gave me, the list of options, young guy, offensive minded, coming from a winning program, had never been associated with the Saints in any way. I think they need like a reset, so not touching anybody's tree, completely outside of the structure. I think that's good for him. But look, I don't know if he's going to be able to lead the room or lead them out of this situation. It probably is one of the more unattractive jobs in quite a while, just given the age of the roster, where the roster's at, their cap situation, their quarterback situation. It's not an appealing job, and it's very easy to see a path in 3 years where you're just spinning the tires and not going anywhere. So it's tough to see someone succeeding in this right away, right now, but I do like him. I mean, talking to him this week, I've become more impressed with him, being able to, actually speak to him and hear how he speaks and explains things. I can see how he could be a successful leader in a room, even though he doesn't have that Dan Campbell type personality.
Okay.
Yeah. So look, even Kafka, we talked to him at the Senior Bowl, and he feels like someone that could really command the room. So I think he kind of checks that box, but Kellen Moore's X's and O's and all that. I like a lot of that, but honestly, I'm not trying to sidestep the question or be scared of answering it. I have learned that I just do not know if it's quote unquote the right. I don't want to sound like I'm endorsing it when I have no idea if he's going to be able to succeed.
Do you know who his defensive coordinator is going to be yet? I asked that because my other question, because it ties into one. Kafka being such a strong candidate, even though he wasn't calling the plays, he was kind of sidelined this year. Coming off of the season the Giants had offensively, it didn't add up a lot. When you hear noise that maybe he would bring Malik Martindale from Michigan down, then you start to say, oh, okay, so, this package looks attractive. So, do you know yet who the Kellen Moore DC is or will be?
So, apparently there's two, and I know one of them is Staley. I'm not sure who the other one is. He coached with Staley in San Diego, Los Angeles, whatever it was at the time. So that would make a lot of sense. Kind of ties in with the whole Philly thing too, like Vic Fangio influence. You go into a 3-4. All that.
That does not excite me. I like Brandon Staley, the person, but I guess you could say he might just be one of those guys. Brian Dable might be one of those guys who's a better coordinator than a head coach, right?
Yeah. And look, that's totally fine. The one thing I don't like about that is you go back to the thing again. It's just if he's kind of more of a reserved personality, you would kind of like somebody in that co-pilot chair that's a little bit more of a head buster, so to speak, and they're both kind of more into the intellectual, sit back game plan. Yes, yeah. So they're gonna have to find that somewhere on the staff if it is him. I kind of look at Chicago the same way though too. Ben Johnson's kind of one of them guys, and Dennis Allen is not a big, strong, alpha type personality. So it's kind of interesting, but yeah, they're gonna have to find a way to manufacture that somehow.
I'm skeptical. You can't judge off of one press conference or one thing or whatever, but I agree. The Kellen Moore, Ben Johnson, they are guys who I feel like their best role, even as a head coach, will be calling the plays.
Yeah.
So right, like you said, how do you fill that in? Do you fill that gap? It can't just be all the locker room. On the field, you mentioned the roster's in bad shape, cap in bad shape. I think this ties into New York too, but a big question too is will Derek Carr be their quarterback this season?
If I had to bet, I would say yeah, because the only way to really get out of it is you're kind of taking this massive $50 million hit, and if they do that, where they're at with the cap, they're already so far under. Then you got to restructure everybody, and you get to the end of that, and you literally would not be able to make money. It would be just that gridlock because you got to fill out to 90. They would have no money whatsoever. I think it's more likely he plays through this season, and then next year would be the one where you let him go. But look, you could decide just to take your medicine, be terrible this year, and get a top pick, and kind of look at next year as year one of kind of the real reboot. I just don't see that in their DNA because, as long as I've been around them, it's always been try to get 10 wins, get into the playoffs. If you get into the playoffs, you can make some noise. That's just how they always view it. And I'm going to sound insane for saying this, but I don't think they're that far off because they were so injured this year. I think you could find a way to be playoff in the picture this year. I think next year's really the year where they're going to be terrible if they try to keep it together because everybody else is a year older. Cam Jordan's a year older. Mario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu. if they do a reset, I think it's more likely that the other defensive players go, and then Carr goes a year from now. But I do want to ask you about that because I know Derek Carr's a name in New York, and the first time I saw it, I was like, really? Like, this is the thing. Like, that's a real possibility for the Giants?
They have people in their front office who have liked him over the years. I don't know. I think they see a guy who they view as a leadership type and like a solid personality that I don't want to say guys would rally around, but they view him as somebody who could handle that spotlight, be the same guy every day, even though the lights are bright, that type of stuff. I'm skeptical though that even those people at this moment feel that strongly about him. Like I think it's not just the one game, but like you saw the game in New York. I mean, Derek, was showing such limitations on the field as far as how he was able to run the offense, where he was able to push the ball, even when he saw the throw, whether he was able to make it at times, depending on what the throw was. So I personally do not consider him a Giants option.
Yeah.
There is talk that he still is and that his name is still being talked about. My belief, although I don't know this definitively, my belief is that he can't be counted on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'd accept a trade. Like he denied trade. Like the Saints tried to trade for him, he wouldn't help the Raiders. So it was like, you got to cut me, and I can pick my spot.
Right.
You know, he does have some offsets, so you could probably get him for nothing, probably for a year. So that would be interesting. I just don't know that he could. This might be unfair to say, but like I just don't know that he could handle the market. Honestly, like the criticism in New Orleans at times seemed like it was too much, and I would argue compared to you guys, we're way smaller. So it's like two people being critical. In general, it's kind of a friendly media area. So I don't know if he can take it.
Rabbit Ears is the worst quality in New York.
Yeah.
The current GM has it. I mean, it's impossible to survive in most markets, like you referenced, if you have rabbit ears, but especially when there's more noise. I don't even know how you focus on actually doing the job. All right, a few sponsorship segments. First is Here Comes the Boom, brought to you by Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink. And this is the question simply in this Super Bowl. We're not going to predict the game yet, but to predict who's going to make the biggest boom, the biggest impact on this game. Could be a player on the Chiefs, could be a player on the Eagles. I've asked people to try to not pick, let's say, like the top four obvious, right? Like there's Saquon, Hurts, there's, Mahomes, but anybody that sticks out to you that isn't being talked about as an X factor?
I'm so fascinated with Zach Bond, and it's kind of a homer pick because he was with the Saints, but just seeing what he does and how he impacts every game, and it seems like he's doing something every single week to create a turnover, to create a huge loss of yardage. I think if the Eagles win this game, it's going to be him like making some type of game-breaking play. He's been incredible, and his story is it's wild. Like he was nothing in New Orleans. Like they didn't give him a chance. They didn't see it. Like any potential in him, didn't allow him to get snaps. And like he's a legitimate like top 5 DPOY player this year, and I think he's been just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unreal. No, that's a great point. Yeah, it feels crazy that he spent so many years in New Orleans being used as like special teamer edge, and Fangio unlocks this. It's unreal. Look good, feel good, play good. Brought to you by Sal Loretta for Men in Midland Park, New Jersey. They get me right for every podcast, every Giants game. They'll get you right if you go and ask for Ralph. So look good, feel good, play good. My question is, which Saints player consistently on game days brings it? When he walks in, he's got the best fit.
Easy. It's DeMario Davis, man. Like you and him could go toe for toe in the suits. Like he brings it though. Like it is put together. Always got the pocket square, the right shoes to go with it. No question. For the grown man swag, like he is killing it. Like he should be a fashion icon, like in the suit space.
Mario Davis. All right, and finally, Pat's picks brought to you by MyBookie. Who's going to win the game?
I got to go Chiefs. I mean, it comes down to the quarterback every single time, and I think you got the best player in the world. At some point, he's going to make a play, and you got to stop him. And I don't think they're going to do it.
All right. So that's been Nick Underhill from NewOrleans.Football. Remember, here on Talking Ball with Pat Leonard here in New Orleans on Super Bowl Radio Row, brought to you by Sal Loretta for Men. Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink. That's boomchaga.com. You can use the code TalkingBall25 for 25% off your subscribe and save order. Also brought to you by MyBookie. Use the promo code PATSPICKS and get a 50% match on your first deposit of $50 or more, all the way up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. And we're brought to you by Estate 98 Coffee. It's a coffee concentrate, specialty coffee concentrate, all natural. It takes 10 seconds to make a hot or cold coffee. Use estate98.com/talkingball to get an exclusive 80% off your first order. And Nick, for coming on, thank you so much. We have a free bag of Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink.
I'm excited to try this.
Check it out. It's great. I feel like a post-workout like energy boost. I think you'll love it. But yeah, we love what you're doing at NewOrleans.Football. Go subscribe. Thanks for being on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.